show's already started. How long has it been going? Oh, not that long. How embarrassing. Step down from your throne before you're thrown down from the steps. Yeah, that's what's coming next. If you test it, you guessed it. There, now the top of my head is invisible. You know what? You can saddle up and travel light. But can you travel up and satellite? That's what I want to know. I think you can. I think it's been done. Although it's weird how there's not really, like, you'd think there'd be more like photographs or videos of satellites cruising around up there, you know? You think that would be kind of a cool thing to have footage of. But there's a surprisingly lacking amount of that. Whatever. I guess you just, cameras in space, it's really tricky. Getting footage of shit in space, it's really super tricky. You got to use Photoshop and stuff. I mean, because you have to, It's Photoshop because it has to be. Because you see, the thing is, it's strip data. You see, where satellites are passing over Earth and they're just getting strips, long strips of data. But it's just ones and zeros. We gotta convert the data, and we gotta get some people in there interpreting the data, and then we gotta layer it around a ball, and then we gotta Photoshop it. And just admit you're drawing a fucking picture already. Fuck's sake, strips. Okay, and then when you zoom in close enough, that's when you start seeing the strips, which are taken from airplanes. It even says so on the photograph. Taken from an Airbus. What is that? It's not a satellite. Nope. It's an Airbus. Otherwise known as a plane. Yep. And that's why you don't see planes or any other air traffic in any of those Google Earth images, because they're taken from the same elevation as planes, so you're not likely to see any planes in the photos. If it was taken from a satellite, you'd see all kinds of air traffic. And you know how many planes fly a day? A lot. All those planes would be in the photos. But no, you look at those photos, you're not going to find any planes. And how in the fuck would that be? Well, because they're taken from planes. Yep. That's why when you're taking photos of things, you don't get in the photo because you're the one taking the photo. It makes sense, right? Saddlebomb. Nice to see you, buddy. Yeah. See, my phone says 0 people are watching, and I got somebody. I got one. Reel them in. I gotta like the bug repellent. Talk about Google Earth. Oh yeah, it's so dumb. It's like to fall back on that is like proof of a globe. I mean, you got a long ways to go before you get to where I'm at. If that's what you think is proof. What about Google Earth? What about computers? What about common sense? My favorite approach to the flat Earth right now is just keeping it simple. What's up, Tony? Nice to see you, man. Fuck yeah! Thanks for coming to my show, both of you, all 2 of you. It's like, here's the thing: you can just give the Globers their fucking argument if you want. Just be like, okay, all that shit might be true. I mean, unfortunately, we can't prove it though because Earth, as far as anyone on Earth is concerned, is a flat and stationary plane. It is. I mean, that's how we treat it. So if we're treating it that way, that's how it is for as far as we're concerned, right? Just admit that. I mean, because if that's how we treat it, That's how it is. It is what it does. It ain't what it cannot do. It's pretty simple fucking math. Simplify the math. It's like, well, it's built for use over a flat and stationary Earth, but it's not a flat and stationary Earth. Wink, wink. We're just simplifying the math. Is that right? Or could it just be that the math is simple? It's built for use. I mean, it's like when it gets down to brass tacks, when there's lives on the line, we're designing a model for an airplane that's going to be flying in the sky and landing on the ground. Well, then we have to ditch all the fucking other nonsense and let's get down to the real deal and be like, okay, this is built for use over a flat and stationary Earth. Just that's what's really going on. If you go back into the classroom and you're talking, that's when you go back to the globe and all the motion and all this stuff. But when you're like building a plane and people's lives are at stake, it's built for use over a flat and stationary Earth. Just don't say that out loud if you can. Try to avoid that part. Just wait for the flat earthers to dig it up and fucking yell it through loudspeakers and then we'll just say, oh, we're just simplifying the math. Is that what you're doing? I'm pretty sure that if it was built for use over a rotating Earth that's a globe, you'd have to factor that into your design model. It's funny how a simplified globe Earth in motion is a flat and stationary Earth. It's funny how that works out. Well, because it's so big and the motion is so gradual. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. You win. But as far as any of us are concerned, I win. And any of us includes everybody on Earth. So it's kind of like your argument's a moot point and mine isn't. Because if you're going to build a craft that's flying in the sky and landing on the ground, and you're going to build it for use over what I'm saying, then clearly my argument isn't a moot point. It's actually being factored into designs of aircrafts. So it's clearly not a moot point. It's pretty important. Now, if yours wasn't a moot point, then that would be used when they're factoring in the design model and how it's going to work on Earth, over Earth, or whatever. Well, you see, when you're in the air, you're moving along in tandem with the Earth, and it's kind of like the uprising Earth. It's like, everything's moving at just such a constant rate, and this displacement and the mumbo jumbo, and it's like, dude, and so basically it ends up looking like it's just stationary. Okay, well, why don't we just be honest? That's what's really annoying about all this flat Earth versus the fucking nonsense. Is it like we're just people that are being honest? I mean, that's what it boils down to. It's like, okay, or if you're just gonna tell somebody, okay, just be honest about what Earth is. Okay, like what is it? Like, don't refer back to what you were taught. Just be honest about what your experience is here. Just tell me, just as if you've never had a day of education. You just woke up and here you are, and you know the English language. Now tell me what's going on. Where are you? I'm in this place. Okay, well, what's going on with your environment? It's just a nice, stable environment. It's pretty calm and easy going. Do you feel like you're on a ball spinning? No, 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 no. Not at all. Okay. See, when you're just honest, you just get right down to the nitty gritty. You know what I'm saying? So it's more like flat Earth is just honest. It's like, let's just be honest. Okay, let's just be real. Let's pretend we're designing an aircraft built for use over this place. What is this place? Simplify the math and just be honest. Simplify it. It's just this place. It's like say it. It's a stationary plane. I know it's hard. Just admit it. Just be honest. Okay, it's just, is it curving? Well, there's mountains and canyons. No, 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 no. Like, is the water level? Is the parts that are fluid, are they curving? Well, there's waves and swells and tides and just be honest. Have you been to a lake before when it's a really calm, still day? And you see that perfect reflection of the mountain mirrored in the lake. It's just perfect. Describe that water for me, will you? It's flat. Oh, duh! You said it. It's flat. Can you have a perfect reflection on a curved water? No. It's not perfect when it's curved. Like, you know, those funhouse mirrors? Are those perfectly flat mirrors? Nope. That's what a reflection would look like if it was curved. Because, you know, when the reflection in the mirror is curved, it's because the mirror is curved. It's pretty basic stuff. So just be honest, and then you'll be a flat earther. That's what I got to say. Okay, bye now. I'm just kidding. I got a lot more than that to say. Trust me. I'm just getting going. You can come over here with it. They just come in and love me. I love you. Mm, mm, mm. Are you just here to love me?
Yes.
Okay.
Love.
Love you back. Ooh, hear that low hum? That's a C. Oh, I'm not in tune, am I? Oh. That's pretty good right there. Oh, that's way too sharp. Alright, alright. My harp not in tune with my pitch. That's fishy. I'm gonna tune to my harp. Ugh. That G string's going bad. It's always the G string that goes first. In fact, it's always the G string that goes. None of the other strings go. It's the G string goes bad. I don't get it. I do get it. I just I'm quite familiar with it. It's fucking annoying. So if you see, oh fuck. If you see me getting kind of agitated, sort of, it's because my G string's going bad. So what are you guys doing? Just watching my goofy ass? You must be bored. I'm sorry about that. Let me see if I can do something entertaining here. I mean, so what's going on in the world? I mean, is anyone paying attention to the election? I mean, it seems like the whole world just became truthers. I mean, because nobody gives a fucking rat's ass anymore. There's nobody campaigning or like fucking vote for Kamala Harris. You know, I live in a blue state of California where it's supposed to be like the most miserable blue, like liberal. It's just another place. I mean, it's just like anywhere else, dude. It's fine. Just relax, everybody. Jeez. I mean, my kid's in a public school. Like I went and met his teacher at back to school night. She's cool, man. Granted, she's gonna try to tell him the Earth's a ball spinning around, but he already knows it ain't. So he's one step ahead of everybody else, I guess. But like, he also knows they're going to try to teach him that it's all this other stuff. And so he's hip. I told him, you just got to answer the questions with the answers that they give. But just know that they're trying to indoctrinate you, and you just got to get through it all. It's just like there's stuff they teach you that's true, but like because there's stuff that it has to be. It has to be. But like the stuff about when it's basically when it's beyond your scope, like when it's like either too big or too small for you or anyone else to really see, that's when the stories start to happen. Like the fairy tales start to take place. It's like, okay, if you get down to we got like a electron microscope, and it's like that's when you can see the virus that's dividing and spreading through everything and infecting your body, and you need to get shots so you don't die. That's when you're like, well, it's so small, I can't really go verify that myself, so I'm just gonna have to take your word for it. Here, I'll roll up my sleeve for you. Go ahead, fix me up, doc. Or it's like, it's so far away, it's light years away, then there's galaxies and stars being born, and well, I mean, you can't really see it from here, but just gonna have to take my word for it. But do I gotta get a shot? No, 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 no. You don't really gotta do anything. You just know that it's happening. It's so inspiring and it's so good for your imagination. I bet. I pretty much can't really imagine it, actually. My imagination must not be as good as yours. Because, it's like, it's easy to tell a bunch of stories when nobody can verify it, right? It's kind of like a cheap shot, if you ask me. Especially if you're going to ask me to do something because of your story. Something that's, ouch, that hurts. Nah, pass on that, man. It's just a story. If you can't verify it yourself, like, you see, that's the thing. That's where these like charlatans can sort of sneak in and be like, oh, well, it just so happens I have a special handy dandy fancy look at small things device that you don't. And you have to have $1 million to get it, and government funding and sponsorship and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, oh, well, shit. I can't afford that. So you must be right. Well, we're going to go to Mars. Okay, so let me know when you verify that. It must suck having a big audience, because then you'll feel like you really got to perform. I got 2 people, I'm just like hanging out. 2 quiet people that don't have much to say. So I just kind of talk. 2 things. Make out with my girlfriend. Tune my guitar. Watch the grass grow. Listen to the birds chirping. Smoke a cigarette. Talk about life. Life is like a box of rocks. And when you're as dumb as one, you never know what the fuck's going on. No, sir. My name's Forrest. Forrest Gump, the Gimp. Tell me to run and I'll go in. That's about all I got to say about that. Stupid is, it stupid does. Yep. It is what it does, and it ain't what it cannot do. It's like a good motto right there, It's like, it is what it does. Like, does it vaccinate you? Well, no. Well, then it ain't a vaccine. Well, we kind of changed the definition of vaccine, so now it is one. Uh, how can you change the definition of being immune to something? Well, it's like it just reduces the symptoms. The what? What? What is it again? It's an asymptomatic disease. You want to reduce the symptoms of an asymptomatic disease? You know what that looks like? I'll tell you. See, when you're asymptomatic, you know what that means? It means that basically, you're just normal, right? So it's just how you always are. So your symptoms that you have, the disease that you have, is making you, just be normal, like you're alive basically, and you're diseased. So we're going to reduce that symptom for you here, okay? We'll greatly reduce the symptoms. So when you greatly reduce the symptoms of being alive, you're dead. So we warned you. You've also recommended it. Yeah, well, we have to reduce the population because the Earth's going to blow up and die. Well, I guess I took one for the team. I think there should be a law written after we take over the place. The first law we should write is go ahead, be fruitful and multiply. All right. And the first person that gets up on the world stage and says we got to reduce the human population, they thereby automatically volunteer themselves and their loved ones to be the first people to go. It's just automatic. If you get up on the world stage, it's automatic. If you say that, you got to go. And you and your loved ones, come over here. You just said the magic words. You get one chance to take it back. You got to get back out there right away and make sure everyone that fucking heard you realizes that you were mistaken and take it back, or we're going to kill you and your loved ones right now. You'll be a martyr for your cause. Okay, no more Gates Foundation. And the thing is, it's like we'll reassess the situation after we get rid of you. Okay, looks like that was a pretty good reduction. Anyone else have any good ideas? No? All right, cool. Go back to as you were. Go ahead, be fruitful. We can at least afford to have another 10, 12 people. How can a whole audience of people sit there and watch the guy say that? Listen to him say, and I believe we can do a really good job with this if we make sure to give everyone in the world a vaccine. You want to reduce the population by giving them vaccines. I'm really working on that strike, guys. If you see my channel disappear all of a sudden, all two of you are going to have to find me again. It won't be a very big deal. You can see I'm really concerned about it. I go by Dr. Bass. You'll find me. And I'll be glad when you do. I got a strike last week, that's why I haven't streamed on this channel for a week. And it's like, I got punished. I got my lashings. I don't even know what I did this time. Usually I know usually I know when I'm running my mouth and saying some shit that I probably shouldn't be saying. But I don't believe in self-censorship because I believe what that is it's the most commonly used form of mind control. And it's not good. And it's not something you should practice. So I just go ahead and speak as I will usually. I mean, I try to stay off certain subjects just for the sake of I don't want to dwell on things and make a point to get censored. But if the subject comes up while I'm talking, well, it's too late. There's no turning back. I got to say it how it is. I claim truther for a reason, I'm trying to keep it real here. I'm pretty silly too. A lot of things I say are sarcastic, which is kind of confusing for an AI. Once AI figures out sarcasm, I'm toast. I'm gone. That'll be the end of me right there. AI know what AI is. AI is just one eye. AI know what AI is. AI is just an eye. AI know what AI is. AI is just an eye. Hey, I know what AI is. AI is just an eye up in the sky. It's going to spy on you and I and everyone in society. Say goodbye to your privacy. Yeah, it's the most realistic shit you're going to get, but it's still fake shit. Don't mistake it for being real. It's not alive. Teach it how to walk out, to talk out, to freaking lock out, to wash your socks, how to read your mind. Teach it how to jump rope, how to cook dope, how to tell a joke, but it don't understand the punchline. Teach it how to repeat it, but can it keep a secret? I don't think so, it won't know why. Hey, I know what AI is. AI is just an eye up in the sky. It's going to spy on you and I and everyone everyone in society. Say goodbye to your privacy. It's an algorithmic gimmick and given no limit goes all the way out around and then back in it. It's the official, artificial, digital idolatry. We all agree to call it intelligence is intellectual dishonesty. You can teach how to play Tetris and chess and checkers and tic-tac-toe. Teach how to repeat it, but can I keep a secret? I don't think so. I don't think so. Hey, I know what AI is. AI is just an eye up in the sky. It's going to spy on you and I and everyone in society. Say goodbye to your privacy. Yeah. Once the cat is out of the bag, it's impossible to put it back. Or once the cat is out of the bag, it's impossible to put it back. Hey, I know what AI is. AI is just one big eye. It's the new all-seeing eye in the capstone at the top of the pyramid. It's the new god they put up above everything else. But it's just a computer program. Teach it how to look like it's teaching itself, like it's look like it. Teach it how to look like it's teaching itself, how to look like it. Teach it how to look like it's teaching itself, how to look like it's teaching itself. Teach it how to look like it's teaching itself. I'm looking for something right now. What is that? What is it? I'm looking. Oh, yes. Hey, I know what AI is. AI is just a fucking wise guy. Just a bunch of wise guys behind computers somewhere in India. ChatGPT, turns out it's just a bunch of people answering questions all around the clock. It's like there's some shit like that that's happening. It was like fucking Amazon, like, where it's like, what do they call that? Amazon, like where you don't have to go to the fucking, it's just like walk in, walk out, you just grab the stuff off the shelf and bail, and it charges you for it, Well, that was the idea, at least. It's supposed to be all like AI automatically mated. And then it turns out it wasn't really AI at all. It was just a bunch of people in India looking at computer screens. It didn't really function the way they claimed it to. And so therefore it was false advertisement and they had to shut it down. How embarrassing. We got this AI and it's going to make it so you don't have to go to a cash register and wait in line and stuff. And you can just walk in and walk out like you just like came and robbed the place, but you have to pay still. And so it turns out it wasn't AI. It was just a bunch of people looking at computer screens. And, they couldn't quite keep it functioning. And so probably a lot of people did get away without having to pay stuff. Alan's here. Alan, what are you doing in my chat, man? You must be really bored. I salute you in that. That's what I should have titled my stream. You must be really bored. You must be so bored. But you don't realize you're catching a really good show. And it's not going to be around forever. Because the censorship is only going to get worse and worse and worse. Pretty soon you won't be able to have your own opinion about anything. That's an incorrect opinion. What? This guy, I had this friend of mine that stopped by last week. Well, I was streaming on my other channel that has no subs, so nobody saw that I was streaming. So nobody was watching, but still, it was interesting how he came over. And I told him right away, I'm on YouTube right now, so whatever you say and do is going to be held against you. And he's like, oh, and he's all, hey, I'm on YouTube. He's all dork, And this guy, like, I happen to know he's sort of a liberal, but like we don't ever get into that conversation because we're just friends, and it's like, maybe he thinks I'm a closet conservative or something. I'm not really a closet anything. I'm just myself. I don't take titles very willingly. I'll take flat earth, but that's just because it's like a big middle finger to the whole world. I like flipping the bird to the whole world. Well, not the whole world. Actually, there's a pretty large percentage of us that claim flat earth now. But that's the thing. We're not even really making any claims. I like to keep that real enough. It's like, it's just about being honest, really. It's like, like if you just have to be honest, like what is the Earth? Well, it's a flattened station. Yeah, but it's actually not. Well, as far as anyone's concerned, yeah, it is actually. That's how we treat it, so that's how it is. And if it wasn't, then we'd have to treat it differently. So the reality of it is, like the argument the globe has, the curvature and the motion. Well, it's a moot point because it doesn't bear any relevance on anyone's life at all, ever, and it never will. So I call that a moot point. A moot point is when something is pointless and there's no reason to mention it. It's just like it bears no effect on anything at all. That's what a moot point is, in case you were wondering what a moot point is. And so every argument a glober has ever made, pretty much, is moot because it bears no relevance on anyone's life whatsoever. It's information that not a person needs to know because they'll never have to apply it to their life or like be concerned with it remotely because they'll never, ever, once in their whole lives, ever need to factor that into what they're doing, no matter what. Oh, unless they're an astronaut. I forgot those astronauts, those space cadets. They got to worry about it. But the thing is, though, astronauts, they don't come to this conversation. They don't want to partake. And it's been about 10 years now, and so I can pretty much safely assume that they're never going to partake in this conversation. So, you know, it's kind of interesting how the only people in the world who actually know that we're wrong, they don't bother talking to us. It's all these other dumb fucks that just think that we're wrong. They don't know. The people that have actually left Earth and could say with beyond a shout 100% certainty with a truckload of salt, they would tell us Earth is definitely not flat and stationary. We saw it doing its globular rotation and spinning and orbiting. We saw it with our own eyes. But they won't come and tell us that. They're too afraid to come and be real with us. So for now, it's just like until an astronaut wants to join the Flat Earth podcast and start, doing what it takes to convince us, well, we're not convinced. Because the thing is, like, you can tell me all this fancy stuff all you want, but like, if it's not anything that's ever going to concern me whatsoever, then it's not anything that's ever going to concern me whatsoever. So you're wasting your time. It's just like a bunch of useless information to know because it doesn't apply to your life. So that's what we call a moot point. Now, it's not moot to the astronauts, but they're not the ones who are talking to us. So if someone was to prove me wrong, then they can go ahead and do that. But it's not going to happen because the only people that want to bark at me about how I'm wrong are people that can't prove me wrong. They're just people that are repeating information they heard somewhere else. That's a fallacy. And, you could say that I'm being fallacious in the way I'm acting, but the thing is, it's true that it's a moot point if it doesn't bear any relevance on anyone's life. That's fact. You can take that with a truckload of salt. Because if you took it with a grain of salt, that would mean it's not very significant. It's like, take this medicine with a grain of salt every day. Okay, after a while you're like, I don't really need to take it with a grain of salt, do I? Fuck that salt. A grain of salt, like that matters? No, it doesn't. But if they say, take this medicine with a truckload of salt, it's like, oh, fuck. That's going to be some work. That's pretty serious. Sorry, that's one of my new pet peeves. When people say, oh, you got to take this with a truckload of salt. But, they say that Bill Gates made 1 million mosquitoes and they all have fucking HIV. Or, it's like, it's information that they're trying to tell you, like, it's probably not true. But they say take it with a truckload of salt because, like, just a grain of salt, it's like, it's obviously not true. But if a truckload of salt, it's like, well, it's definitely not true. No, you're going the opposite direction with that little figure of speech there because a grain of salt is pretty insignificant. It's pretty much like, well, where'd it go? Oh, well. But a truckload of salt, it's like, it'll kill you. Better look out for that truckload of salt. If you get a truckload of salt dumped on you, you're in bad shape. So it's pretty fucking real, It's like, I know for a fact it's real because it's a truckload of salt. I had to take it with a truckload of salt. It's real. Yeah. was it that said that? It was Steve from the Space Busters guy. He said that he was talking about some shit that was probably not true, but he's, I'll take this with a truckload of salt. You know, it's like he showed a truck tipping over with all the salt in it. I'm like, I don't think I don't think he meant it that way though. I think he meant that it was definitely not true, or like basically take it like as, you know, this is just like hypothetical, like possible, like maybe. But when I take something with a truckload of salt, for me that means it's pretty serious. It's the opposite of taking it with a grain of salt. And yes, I sit here and dwell on that point, and it's pretty retarded. I think people understand. They would understand if they would just listen to me. I got flies in my ears. Sorry, I'm trying to smoke pot here. Just don't mind me. Just carry on. I have to get down because the wind is blowing because the earth is spinning. Somebody said that the other day, though. Well, the wind is proof of the earth rotation. Well, that's funny though, because the wind will blow one direction and then it'll blow the other direction. Well, that's just because it's, there's backflow and it's like, no, the atmosphere is moving in tandem with the earth, except for when it's moving the other way. Last time I checked, when I stand still, the atmosphere actually passes over me. Like if I were to like hover up in the air and just sit there, waiting for the earth to rise up and bump into my feet, for one thing, it wouldn't. And for another thing, the atmosphere, if it was moving, it'd pass over me and through me and by me. Now, I do understand the whole bit about like if you're on a train and you jump, you know, you don't fly to the back of the train. I get it. I understand because you're already moving as fast as a train. So you're just like, it's like you might as well not be moving kind of thing. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. But if you're on a train with no roof or no walls and you're making a constant left turn, probably shouldn't jump. I could go on making wisecracks about flat Earth all day. It's just because the arguments that you get, are just so shoddy. They make these comparisons where it's like, oh no, it's like a train, and it's like, yeah, but Earth doesn't have walls and a roof, and it isn't going in a straight line. Well, it's a curved straight line. It's in a perpetual free fall in a curving straight line due to the warped, bent space and time. And man, you realize how abstract you're getting when you say that shit. It's like either that or it's just what it looks like, because it doesn't look like that. Nah, it doesn't look like that at all. It doesn't feel like that. Every sense in our body, every sense in every person's body on Earth is telling them that it's not that. When you build and design, you know, aviation, you don't have to worry about that. So basically, if it's just a moot point, then why are we even debating it? It's kind of embarrassing that we spent that much time debating the globe, because it's like all the globe has to offer is moot points. No, but it makes predictions, and it's like we have to know when the all the data from the satellites and the weather and and people that fly planes and satellites, dude. What about satellites? Well, it turns out they launch satellites from a geostationary coordinate, so it's more like, here I am just repeating information that I heard. So that's what it boils down to a lot of times. It's just two people like bark, bark, bark. A bunch of information I heard. A bunch of information I heard. Oh, a bunch of information I heard. Oh, no, a bunch of information. Me too. Me too. Nah, 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 nah. So it's like, this is like, what a waste of fucking time. Two dudes shouting a bunch of information back and forth that they heard somewhere else. It's one big fallacy snowballing into a pile of shit. I like mixed metaphors. They kind of fuck everything up. It's a snowballing boomerang that it's got a snowballing boomerang ricochet that turns into a pile of shit. And I'm gonna take another hit. Have another hit. And then I'm gonna play a hit song by Dr. Bass. And it's gonna be a hit. You guys will be like, man, I'm gonna tell all my friends and family. Oh man. What happened? There we go. Dude, this sucks. It's time to change the stream. Now it's starting to buzz, and this thing needs some attention. At first it wasn't buzzing, then it's buzzing. At first it wasn't buzzing, then it's buzzing. As you impart with a partial smile, disperse into your world of denial. Like a head-on collision, a head-on collision. Yeah, colliding in the wake of your decisions. It's just a head-on collision. Hey, the spyglass specks can view a far-off train wreck before they met in a head-on collision. A head-on collision. X-ray vision, high definition, limited edition of a rendition is never gonna get listened to. They're never gonna get listened to. You do the mathematics and you'll choke and cough up a kaleidoscope. Spitting. Oh, when we're living in it, living in a lie, living in a big fucking lie. Living in it like it's more ridiculous as time goes by. More ridiculous as time goes by. Living in it like it's more ridiculous as time goes by. Ridiculous as time goes by. Being made of money doesn't make you anybody special. Being made of money doesn't make you anybody special. It makes you a lot of phony friends, and in the end, you're just a free flow freak show that can't go forever on the down low. Can't go forever on the down low. You're getting beat up from the future that induces an epileptic seizure. You're walking through the room looking like a foreign creature. Living in it, living in a lie. Living in it like it's more ridiculous as time goes by. More ridiculous as time goes by. More ridiculous as time goes by. Time goes by. More ridiculous as time goes by. More ridiculous as time goes by. Sit back down if you can't stand it. I don't demand it, it's inferred. Listen to the words that you're saying. Man, I ain't playing. There once was a point when I thought you were on point, but now it's gotten to the point where you're pointing to some pointless moot point that's just pointing you in the wrong direction. Too many tall talking tyrants have told too many tall tales. Now they're taking their time twiddling their thumbs like Tweedledee and Tweedledum. There's airborne Mormons that are flying in town, and blue unicorns are being born all around, and no one's sounding the alarm this time. But it's been so robust, it's been this or bust, and it's a must. Don't knock it till you rock it. Keep your comments in your pocket. Don't mock it. Stop it before I mop the floor with your dumb ass. Kick you out the door and lock it. Woo-hoo, yeah. Papa was a rolling snowball. Wherever he laid flat was his home. Till he rolled away one cold, cold day. You know they say he's out there rolling still, rolling down this here hill. You know the further he rolled, the bigger he got, until he gotten so big that he could not stop. Roll on, Papa. Woo! Papa was a rolling snowball. Wherever he laid flat was his home. Papa, roll on. Well, he finally burst through the front door and proceeded to melt into a puddle on the floor until Mama came in and mopped his ass up. Roll on, Papa. Wherever he laid flat was his home. Papa was a rolling snowball. I'm a snowball too, rolling after you. I think it used to be like the end of the song used to be like something happened where like me and Papa both rolled down the hill, and then some kid turned us into a snowman, put a bottle of booze in our hand. It's like Papa was a rolling snowball, but now he's just part of a drunk snowman. But it was kind of a hard story to tell. It just got confusing. Papa was a rolling stone. Wherever he laid his hat was his home. And when he died, all he left us was alone. They say Katie May's a good girl. Folks say she don't run around at night. Man, I got these flies right in my eyes. They like my ears, they like my eyes. I can't stand those flies. Plants in Blue, lovely to see you. And Sidewinder, oh, right on, man. Hi, I'm Hi, how are you? I'm Hi. I'm Hi, how are you? How high are you? I'm Hi. Oh. That's like the discreet way, like you see your buddy, you're like, hey, I'm Hi, how are you? I'm Hi. People might not even notice that you both just told each other that you're loaded. I'm Hi, how are you? Oh, I'm Hi. It just seems so casual. These flies are a problem. I think I need to light a cigarette. It's like you feel like you got to go like this constantly. Flies. Flies. I despise flies. I have a theory about flies. You probably already know it, though. I think flies. I think pretty much like there's like a stairway to heaven, or a hairway to Stephen, and it's like when you're on the bottom of the lowest rung of the ladder, you're pretty much a fly. As you work your way up, you're like a frog and a monkey, a whale. You're a person. I think birds are further up than us because they got so much freedom. Some birds, some birds are just like they're prey for other birds. But like I think flies, they want nothing more than to just die and to be something other than a fly. And I think flies can crawl further up the ladder because like you don't become a fly unless you really fucked up. And so with flies, it's like there's this weird twisted joke that nature has played on flies, where it's and the rest of the world really for that matter, because a fly can climb back up the ladder, and become not a fly, but only if it dies with honor. Like if a fly lands in a piece of shit, then he goes in your mouth and you swallow him and he dies. He's a monkey in his next life. I mean, that's a big score. He dies by he's in your ear and he dies. Well, that's anytime he pisses you off or bugs you and fucks you up. That's how he climbs back up the ladder. You got to go out with a bang when you're a fly. You got to just shit. So you can think like, I just kill this. So when you kill flies, you're doing them a favor. They don't want to be flies. They want to be a frog or anything other than a fly. So if they go out while they're bugging you, then they've succeeded at their job, their purpose in life. It's like every plant has its purpose. It does. Every person has a purpose. Every fly has a purpose. And the fly's purpose is to drive you nuts. And personally, I like driving my own nuts, so I kind of help them along the way. I'm just like, okay, well, you clearly want to die. And since that's the case, I'll help you with that. I'm not much of a murderer, really, but I like helping a brother out, though. And even the wind is blowing down here. I got a low blow and a high blow. I can't even smoke no pot. Got the low blow and the high blow. The earth must be spinning something fierce. I can get away with this light. I don't know, the wind's blowing. I need to get one of them torch lighters. That's the way to go. Because then you don't have to worry about the wind. I think I have a torch lighter. It's in the house. So you end up burning your thumb. So I got like a burn right there. You gotta light it like this sideways. It worked. Go get my torch. I'm just like in a real pot smoking mood. You ever get like that? Maybe you don't smoke pot. I don't know. Yeah, I love you too, Justina. I was wondering where you've been. Haven't seen you around. I haven't really been around either. I got punished again. Bad boy. I don't even know what I did this time. I don't think I was talking about anything too sketchy. I was talking about Trump's assassination probably being fake. I think that's what might have gotten me censored. Are they really uptight about that? Because that's all I can really remember saying anything that might have been controversial. But they said it was because of medical misinformation. But I guess you could say that was medical. Not really. Oh, because his ear really did get hurt. And you told people it was fake, so that's medical misinformation. Because it really hurt. There was a lot of blood. Poor guy. It healed up pretty quick, though. Thank goodness. Can't run for president with a hurt ear. I'm telling you, if that shit was real, then this shit's fucked up, man. Like, it's almost as if they just scripted the whole thing. It's like, let's find a place where there could be like a total easy spot for an assassin to be, and then we'll make ourselves look really bad, like we didn't catch it in time. Like it's just so no brainer. I mean, it's like, oh, it's 130 yards from the stage. It's got a straight, clear shot, and he's like on a roof right there. It's like, come on, man. What the fuck, dude? What the actual fuck, man? I mean, you expect people to think that's how things go down? Like in the real world, when shots are fired in a huge crowd, people fucking freak out, man. I mean, maybe if they're all like pumped up on Trump high, big Trump high, they're all, "Ah, I'm so high on Trump right now. People could fire off 5 or 6 rounds and I wouldn't even duck. I don't even care. I'm so fired up on Trump. Trump! There's bullets flying. Wow! It's like in most cases, people duck at least. But at a Trump rally, people are like, hey! There's shots being fired. Hey! Try to make themselves more visible. Oh, hey, I'm over here. Maybe I'll catch a bullet. Maybe I'll catch one for Trump. You know what I mean? It's like people were so pumped. They got that Trump high. The Trump high. It's a Trump buzz. You get that Trump buzz, and you're just like, oh, I'm so high. I feel so good. I'd take a bullet for the guy. That's what was so fucking abstract about all that. Is that like, so it's like, pew, 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 pew. Oh shit! It's like, he falls down. Everyone's like, oh, and then it's like he stands back up. I'm okay. Fight, fight, and people are, yeah. But in the meantime, the story goes, the bullet missed him, and hit him, but just barely, and then went and blew someone's head off back there, one of his supporters, and it's like, but he's okay. Trump's okay. Yes, celebrate. There's this person with their head got blown off. Yeah, everything's gonna be okay. It's like, well, not really. Actually, no. It's pretty fucking gnarly, dude. If that's how it really went down, that's not something to be cheering about. That's actually pretty fucked up, man. It's like about as bad as it gets, actually. It's like, I don't care who got hit. Somebody got hit, and it's not okay. It's not a time to celebrate, man. It's a time to like fucking, to like clear the fuck out of here, and like, and just like fucking thank God it wasn't you, and just try to help the people whoever's family member it was, or just, you know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck? It's not a time to be happy. Fuck, no, it isn't. Someone's got their head blown off right near you. You saw it happen, and you're applauding, dude. The Trump high, it's like it's not good. I mean, it's like you go because there's a certain buzz you can get, like when someone's pumping you up, and it's like it's good, and you can get some good shit done with that. Like, yeah, I got a good buzz. That guy got me amped. I'm pumped. But if you go too far with it, it's like I'll take a bullet. I'll applaud when someone gets their head blown off. Yeah, it's like you went too far, man. Bring it back down a little bit. Oh my God. That's all I got to say about that. Well, if you guys are really bored, then you're gonna hang out while I go take a leak. See what that. come with me, Boat? Maybe Boat will go on a walk with us. You want to go on a walk, Boat? Well, he says yes. My kitty Boat, he's so cute. Look at Boat. This is Boat. Meow. Say hi, Boat. Meow. Say hi, Boat. No, you're not gonna talk. Boat's cool. The Boat goes on walks with us. Like we walked all the way down to the park and he came with us the whole way. I was like, man, that's cool to have a cat that comes on a walk with you. It's unfortunate that all our male cats. We had one female cat that showed up here as a kitten. Just showed up randomly, just a little teeny kitten, like probably just off the teat, and was like, "Oh, mew." Needed a house, you know. So we're like, "Oh, you can live with us. You're so cute." My kid named her Bingo. Bingo, and then she had kittens, and there was 3 boys, and we kept all the boys. We kept all of them, and they all grew up. They were all cute and cuddly and playful and snuggly, you know. And then they grew up, and now they want to kill each other. They just they chew on each other. They hate each other. They want to kill each other. They're trying to kill each other. And then one of them got chased off. He comes back every once in a while. He's still alive. But the other 2 that are still here, they just Boat and Beep. The other one is Bingo President, but we call him BP for short. And then it just became Beep. So it's Boat and Beep. His name is Banana, actually. My kid named all the cats. He's like, this one's Banana, this one's Bingo President, and this one's Ice Cream. Ice Cream is the one that took off. But he still comes around. He was here yesterday. But Boat and Beep, they don't like each other. Nope. And it's because we didn't get them fixed. You know, we didn't get their... I don't like calling it fixed, though. It's more like broken. We didn't break them. We didn't break their balls off. And so that's why they want to kill each other. So it's kind of like, it sort of does fix them in the sense where they're not trying to kill each other anymore. But they're just being cats, doing their cat thing. I try not to let them in the house because that when you don't cut off their nuts, they go and they spray everywhere. They mark their territory. Oh, that's the worst smell. That's why you got to roll your windows up when you get home. Isn't it funny when like technology kind of just is just stupid? It's like automated window roller uppers. You know, like when the thing goes bad, and now your window doesn't go up or down. You could have just had a manual one. That's never going to go bad. And if it does, you just got to, I mean, it's pretty easy to fix. You just open up the door and put the window back on the thing, and then it works again. But when it's automated, it's like, good luck. There could be any number of problems, you know. And in the meantime, your window doesn't go up or down. So it's like, you know, the functionality of the thing is like, it's complicated now, and it's and there's more problems that can occur, and problems that can ultimately can like cost you your life, really, in some situations, you know. Like for instance, this billionaire woman had a Tesla. It was in the news. I mean, take it with a grain of salt. Not a truckload of salt, just a grain. Take it with half a grain of salt. It was in the news. This billionaire woman was in her Tesla having lunch or whatever, and she was by a lake or something, a pond, and all of a sudden her car went into reverse, backed into the pond, and she died. There was people there trying to save her. Her car was locked, windows, you know, nothing. She couldn't get out. She died. She died in her car. Granted, I'm pretty sure she didn't put it in reverse, gas it, you know, whatever, you know, hit the accelerator, whatever you want to call it. It's a Tesla. I'm pretty sure she didn't purposefully reverse into the pond, lock all her doors, and die like that on accident. So what I'm saying is, don't get a smart car. Because what smart means, well, you know what smart means. It means surveillance, monitoring, analysis, reporting, technology. Smart means, say it with me, surveillance, monitoring, analysis, reporting, technology. Which means you have access to the internet. Which also means the internet has access to you. which also means anyone in the world can hack into your shit and make you go in reverse, lock your doors, and kill you. So it's probably better to not have that, access. If she had a manual window roller upper downer, she'd have been okay. You know what I mean? If she'd had a manual window roller upper downer, one like that, I know it's a lot of work. Oh, I just break a sweat rolling my window up and down. I wish I had an automatic one. Oh. But she wouldn't have died. I mean, her arm might have been kind of sore from rolling the window down, but she wouldn't have died at least. It's a shame. I wonder who got her billions of dollars. Hopefully her family. She was a billionaire. Usually billionaires don't die like that. She must have not been in the club. She was like a self-made billionaire or something. I don't know. She was some important person, because billionaires are always important. If they're not, they die in a Tesla in a pond. I'm just kidding. It's not funny. It's fucked up. If it's a real story, I mean, you got to take it with a grain of salt because it was on the news. If I say to take it with a truckload of salt, what do? You believe it. Because a truckload of salt is some serious business. Someone tells you got to take this medicine every day with a grain of salt. Okay. After a while, you're going to be like, fuck the grain of salt. You take the medicine, but like, give me a break. A grain of salt, it's pretty much to no avail, right? So like after a while, you just stop taking the grain of salt because it's pointless. It's foolish. It's stupid. But if someone says you got to take this with a truckload of salt, oh, fuck. Now you're in a situation, this is pretty fucking real now. So yeah, when someone says a truckload of salt, they mean this shit's fucking real, man. I put my life on it. So I said grain of salt. Take it with half a grain of salt because it was on the news. It's like they want to tip us off. Like, you might not want to get a smart car because this is what can happen. I'm pretty sure she didn't try to reverse into a pond and then lock all her doors so she couldn't get out. And, I'm pretty sure she didn't do that on purpose. I don't think anybody crazy, anybody in their wrong mind would do something like that. I don't know why. I just can't stop smoking pot, man. I'm going to run out of weed like this. I'm on like a serious pot binge right now. It just feels like I have like anxiety or something. So I'm thinking it's going to calm me down. Hopefully it does. I don't know why I have anxiety. It's probably all these flies. Things trying to get in your ear all the time. It gives you anxiety. Anxiety. It sucks. Man, I'm really putting myself out there for you guys. You know that? Putting myself out here where there's flies that are giving me anxiety. I gotta smoke all this weed. This is a lot I could do for you guys. Don't try this at home. But if you do, try indica. You get that couch lock. Couch lock. I'm surprised I haven't. Is there a strain called couch lock? I'm surprised there isn't one. Get the couch lock. You get the space madness. How come no flat earthers busted that shit out yet? Like Ren and Stimpy's off. They get the space madness. Oh, he goes insane. He's like, I want some real food. On the ISS, they eat real food. They got like apples and oranges, and they play with their food up there and shit. They got food to spare. They don't get no space madness up there. No, they're always all happy, all clean cut, all clean shaven, all clean as fuck. No wrinkles, no fucking, all smiles all the time. Science keeps you happy because you're creating like, you're making such headway, such progress in the scientific exploration. You're at the cutting edge of technology and science. I mean, you're just exploring and you're just like learning stuff every day. It's so inspiring and so good. It's so great. I mean, it's like you're up there on the space station. It's like you don't even know. Earth is so fragile. And it's so big and so beautiful. And I see the curvature every day. I look out my cupola. I'm like, wow. But then I got to get back to work. There's so much science we got to do. We got to do science all day. It's crazy. I get kind of tired of doing science all the time. But really, I mean, it's worth it to just be up here on the ISS, the International Space Station. And it's like, I'm up here with the Russian people and the Europeans and the all the other people, Don Pettit, why don't you tell a story real quick? It's getting kind of awkward.
Oh, well, one time things can get pretty crazy out here. One time we only brought one change of underwear, and we had to wear the same underwear for like a week. It was awful. I mean, you really gotta, as an astronaut, you really gotta be ready. You gotta be ready for it. You gotta roll with the punches. You know what I mean? You really gotta be. You gotta know how to live by the seat of your pants. And it's like, using the bathroom on the ISS is no joke. So if you get a stain in your underwear and you don't have a change of underwear, you're doing science in dirty underwear. And your associates up there, they can smell it. Because it's cramped quarters, You got a stain on your underwear. Everyone knows. It's embarrassing. Oh, here comes Dawn. Put the nose plugs on. Space smells like Dawn's boxers as well. People ask me what space smells like. All I can think of is like, well, Don Pettit's boxers. Sorry. But seriously, that's a true story. I'm just repeating what they told me. That's how it is up there, man. It's crazy. Crazy shit goes on, They take a lot of risks, They do. They take so many risks, those astronauts. They'll be up there on that space station, They start doing these somersaults and flying and spinning in circles over and over, around and around. And the person's like helping them spin. Woo, they're spinning. Wow, they're going around in circles. It's in the air. And it's like, there's like sharp corners sticking out and sharp edges. Like, you could get fucking a major head trauma wound at any given point in time. And it's going to be messy. Oh, man. But he's taking that risk just to entertain kids. I mean, astronauts, they're a rare breed, man. They take a lot of risks just to further the progress of science, technology. They've been up there for over 20 years now. They come and go. They get up on their rocket and they fly up there. It's just fortunate they never get on the rockets that have unscheduled disassemblies, because they would disassemble as well, which means they die. All the unscheduled disassemblies happen on the ones that are just like without people on them. It's fortunate like that over the course of past 50 years. We sent a lot of rockets up in the sky, and a lot of them have blown up, but only the ones that didn't have people on them. One thing I heard that was interesting recently that conflicts with some other information that I heard a while ago, which is something about, well, here's what I thought was the case. I thought the space shuttle doesn't have engines. Am I right? It doesn't have engines. It was like a glider, a glorified glider. They send it up on rockets, and then they fucking get it out in orbit, or they get that hunk of junk going 17,000 miles per hour. And it's in orbit, and they can fly around, because it's a glider, and they're just like, whatever. I don't believe any of it, but it's supposed to be a glider, right? And I think, but recently I was watching some technology thing. I forget what it was. I wish I could remember it. Man, I should have taken note. But they said something about how they had to repurpose some of the engines from the space shuttle for whatever it was that they were working on. And I'm like, and my ears perked up right away. I'm like, wait, what? I thought the space shuttle didn't have any engines. But it was like, it was like an official like presentation on like, I don't know what it was, but it was like they were saying that they repurposed some space shuttle engines for whatever it was they were working on. I don't know I forget what it was. I got to figure that out. But I'm like, what? It didn't have any engines. I mean, it's like they got to keep their stories straight if they want me to believe it. Maybe it did have engines. I don't know. Apparently it did, according to this new information that I got that conflicts with the old information. Maybe I just heard that from a bunch of lying flat earthers. I don't know. But That's the thing. Flat earthers typically aren't liars. Typically, because that's the thing about flat Earth. It's like unless you're just a shill or a grifter or something, which it's kind of it doesn't really attract those types, but it does here and there. Just desperate, lonely people. Jake the asshole. I'm just kidding. Uh, but like, I only say that because Jake the asshole said he was only pretending to be a flat earther for all those years, and I'm like, what, dude? I used to watch you, man. You're trying to tell me I got chumped? Whatever, dude. Fuck you. What do I expect from an asshole, right? But anyways, the thing about flat Earth is like it's just about being honest. It's not about being scientific or like you know factually correct scientifically. It's well, it is actually, but by today's science and today's consensus, it's not about being like consistent with the consensus that's been used against us in this instance. It's more about just being honest. It's like, okay, well, what is the Earth as far as what you're gonna do with it? As far as what your experience on Earth, what is it to you, and how are you going to interact with it, and how do you treat it, and which is pretty much going to be the same for everyone else on the Earth that's ever been here, ever. How you do it is how everyone else is going to do it, pretty much. It's absolutely true. It's a fact. Okay, well, I treat it like it's a flat and stationary Earth, the same way they treat it when they're building aviation, where people's lives are on the line. Yeah, they have to treat it like that. So at the end of the day, they have to treat the place they say. What? At the end of the day, they have to treat this place as though it were the place they say that we're crazy for thinking that it is. So really, it's just about being honest, because if you have to treat it that way, and someone says, well, what is it? Well, that's the way I treat it. It's like, what is it to you? Like, do you treat your girlfriend like you love her? She's my lover. Do you, you know what I mean? Do you treat your dog like your pet? Well, he's your pet. Like, do you treat the Earth like it's a flat and stationary plane? Well, then it's a flat and stationary plane. It's just about being honest. You don't treat things as they aren't. It is what it does, and it ain't what it cannot do. So it's just about being honest. And if someone wants to tell you you're dumb or something, it's like, well, at least I'm honest. I might not be smart, but I'm honest. And I think it's pretty dumb if you can't realize that, actually. You can tell me it's curving and it's spinning, but, that's what we like to refer to as being a moot point, because it doesn't bear any relevance on anyone's life. Nobody has to worry about that stuff. It's not something anyone ever will have to be concerned with, or ever has had to be concerned with, or ever will have to be concerned with. It's a moot point. Oh, unless you're an astronaut, in which case you can make up any kind of bullshit you want, apparently, because those guys, they make all these claims, and then we sit here for 10 years saying they were lying, and they won't come and defend their fucking story. So be it. They pretend that we're not here. And our community is growing and growing and growing. It's not a community anymore. It's like a percentage of society. So, I don't mind being dumb when I'm like around like-minded dumb people. A lot of you, we're all dumb. We're so dumb. But at least we're honest, okay? I'm not even that dumb, actually. But it's like, a lot of times people tell me some things, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's over my head. I don't know how to, all the ins and outs of orbital mechanics. Really, I mean, it's like it could just be theory. That might be real, but like, whatever. So for us, common men, flat Earth is just being honest. That's all I got to say about that. Because I'm a truther, and I like to keep it real. And same goes for like this the micro too. That's the macro. But, we got the micro. It's like viruses. You better get your shots. You better get up to date on your shots. You don't want to die, do you? Basically, if I can't verify what you're saying, don't expect me to behave in any certain way based on what you told me. I'm gonna get a shot. What the fuck's wrong with you? How could you expect that from people? That's rude. We all better go get our shots and do our part. I had friends that were saying that to me. They're not my friends anymore, obviously, but it wasn't my doing. They didn't want to be around me because I was dangerous. I'm dangerous. My beliefs are dangerous, they said. Sounds like some QAnon Alex Jones shit, is what they said. I'm like, fuck those guys. You know, what it sounds like is just some Dr. Bass. I'm not, if I was going to represent those guys, I would represent them. Like, I'd be proud to. But I, I don't. They just happen to have the same opinion. You know, like sometimes I have the same opinion as people that are totally like sketchy. You know, it's whatever. I can't help it. I'm just being honest. That's what truthers do. It's not that we're correct all the time, but if being honest is correct, well, that's what we're shooting for here, you know? That's what makes a truther a truther. You're honest. You're not going to sit here and say a bunch of stuff that you know for a fucking fact isn't true, and you're going to sit there and be like, oh, this is true. That's what a shill is. In my book, that's what a shill is. They're going to sit there and pitch something at you like it's just fact, knowing full well 100% that it isn't. And that's what a shill is. And that's not what a truther is. If you ever catch a truther doing that, you better call them out. I don't typically like to call people out, and that's why I don't usually. And because that's the thing, most truthers are just being honest, you know, but there are some that aren't. They like those clicks, and they'll kind of go for some clickbait type thing. They know what everybody's talking about in the circle, you know. Oh, the final experiment, you know, oh, it's a planned operation. It's like the Masons, you know, they don't have any proof of what they're saying. You know, that's when it gets into like shill territory. It's like if you're going to say it, you know, you just have to at least say, I think that's what's happening. But if you don't say, I think that, and you're just saying it like it's fact, well, that you've kind of stepped over into the shill territory, unfortunately. Or if you're going to quote people on something that they said and then misrepresent it to a major extent of like make a whole video about it, and like that's kind of moving over into like shill terrain, because you're like talking shit about something incorrectly, and like you're not representing it right, and you're doing it just to get people to watch you. It's pathetic. But still, I don't like mentioning names because that's pathetic too. I think, you know, because that's when it gets to be like, okay, nobody wants to fucking get in the middle of all that shit, you know. And that's, you know, some people that I like a lot, they'll do that. They'll say other people are retarded that I happen to watch, you know, and I catch myself like, oh, should I watch them still? Like, yeah, I don't have to adopt other people's opinions just because I like them. But then even though sometimes they'll be like, I saw all of you over there in their chat, and you weren't sticking up for me. And it's like, okay, it's getting carried away. You know what I mean? Like, you know, there is a certain point, you know, if someone's misrepresenting somebody and I happen to be there, I'll say something about it, you know. Be like, I don't think it's how it is, actually. But like, if that's what your whole channel is about, you know, I mean, I'll size it up and I'll be like, okay, awake souls. Like, your whole shtick is just make an entire. That's your whole entire thing. It's just telling people that everyone that I watch are liars. So it's like I don't have the time of day to. I mean, I have to spend all day trying to correct you guys, and it's just like it's not worth it, you know. I think they're pretty funny. Like, I'll watch some of their stuff sometimes just because I think it's kind of psychedelic and weird. It's like it's got a weird vibe to it, man. Shout out to Awake Souls. They're fucking weird. You watch their shows and it's like it's psychedelic. It's weird. It's got a really weird feel to it, and you'll agree with me if you watch it. It's nothing like what you're watching right here. This is just like the dude with his phone, you know. But they got this weird production, and it's all the music. It's really well chosen. It's like it's trippy music. It's always really good music, and it's really good quality. You know, like, you know, hi-fi. You know, like it's mixed really well, and the imagery and the way they have this like smile plastered to their face, and they're like, Dave Weiss, the Jew, is like a shill, and he lies about his thing, and this is that, and we're gonna show you how he's full of shit. And they're just like, so it's like it kind of reminds me of Frank Zappa, how he's like right up your ass with some really offending stuff, and he's like, I'm right up your ass. And it's like, God, it's like, can you back out a little bit, man? You know, it's just like it's so present, and like. And we're so happy that you're here to watch us, because we're going to break it down and tell you how it really is, because we know and nobody else does, because they all try to copy us or lie about us, and they're all liars and we're not. And it's like they're just so bold and so it's got this weird. Maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit. I don't know. I don't feel like I'm exaggerating. I think it's true. I think you go watch their stuff and you're like, wow, these guys are something else. It's really fucking strange. I mean, they got to put a lot of time and effort into that. And it's really it's just about they have a model that they think works. You know, it's the stereographic virtual reality. I don't know. It's like the stereographic virtual. I forget. I see. Don't quote me on this, but it has the word stereographic and virtual in it, and apparently it calls for a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. So they've been kind of in the conversation lately because that's a big topic right now, and and it's interesting. I mean, the way they explain their map, you know, I mean, they do have some information. I got to give them that. Like I shouted them out, didn't I? Go watch them and you'll see they're a fucking weird show, man. It's really weird. I wouldn't advise you to adapt any of their opinions necessarily unless you feel like it. But because I don't agree with most of their opinions, honestly. But it's just an interesting spectacle, is what I'll say. And they do have some information to offer, and it's pretty interesting. It's I don't think it's I can't say that it's wrong because I don't. It's just so fucked up. It's one of these things that you can't really prove. They think that the luminaries go down into the earth. I'm pretty sure they think that. Whatever. I mean, it kind of looks like they do, but like I don't. uh, Anyways, they do have some information, and their model does call for a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. And, you know, when I think about it, I can sometimes like I almost get on the same page as them because if the thing is, I don't have enough experience with the Earth to really be able to say for sure. Because if this thing about the star trails is correct, this is what keeps me up at night, man. It confuses the fuck out of me because I know they circle around. You know, we've done some star trail pictures and shit. You know, it's like I know that I know that's true, and they circle around in the central point in the north, right? You know, so you could. But and then they say in the south they circle the opposite way around another central point, but there's not really a star so much. There is kind of a faint. I don't know, but it's like so that really is kind of interesting if that's true. And then at the equator they're just in straight lines. You know, it's weird, right? And then I get the impression that the sun rises in the opposite direction in the south as it does over here, because if the stars are circling that way, the whole sky is circling that way, you know. And so it's like, and if it's circling around a central point, because you know the sun starts in the center, right, and it works its way out, you know, like the stars circling, you know, it's like this beautiful piece of work, right? But if the same thing is happening in the south, then you would almost expect a 24-hour sun. But it's like, but here's what's going on though. It's like, well, I mean, you guys know what's going on. There would be more evidence of it. But it's like, it kind of makes sense though. I mean, but the thing is, I haven't gone and taken the star trail pictures in the south and actually done it for myself. But it seems like that has to be, how could they be lying about that? That doesn't, that's like a, you know what I mean? It's like, are you any of you in the southern hemisphere? Is it just that there's not enough people living down there where they can't? I don't know. I feel like I should know that by now. You know what I mean? But it's like I'm still confused about what goes on with the stars in the southern hemisphere. Like, do they circle around a central point? And if that's the case, I mean, because I get the impression the stars kind of the way they circle, you know, it gives you an idea of what the motion of the sun and the moon. It's all going that direction, and you know, and the way it's got a central point and it spirals out. It's kind of how the sun operates. It starts, you know, with 24-hour sun in the north and it moves out. And if it's the same thing in the south, you would almost expect the sun to be doing the same thing there too. And I could see how you might take this thought process all the way and be like, maybe Earth is a big ball, you know, and maybe it's just beyond our comprehension. And there's like all these magic forces at work that make it seem like it's just an undisturbed flat plane while it's spinning in a huge ball shape. You never know, right? So you can see how people might get on this tangent, you know, and be like, this could be what's really going on because you're trying to figure out by looking at the sky, like what's going on here, like where are we? Where the fuck are we? You know, and all you got is what you got down here, and you're hands on, and then you got the thing you're witnessing in the sky, and if you travel far enough and you actually pay enough attention, and you find that the stars are circling the opposite way in the south, and they have a central spot down there, and there's a central spot up, you have to put that information together, and you start, you know. it makes sense. Yeah, I'm losing viewers. What a shill. Forrest is such a shill. I'm just saying, there is something to be said about the celestial sphere. You don't have to think that it's the Earth that's a sphere. You could just think there's a celestial sphere split open above Earth. And that's, I don't know how that works, but in that case, you'd almost expect a 24-hour sun in the south. It kind of makes sense, but the thing is, like, we're gonna find that out pretty soon. It's a good time to be alive. All one of you that are listening to me, hey, bro, it's a good time to be alive because if this shit happens, if they go down there, which I don't see why they won't, if dude's really gonna pay for it, why would he go through all this trouble and not have it pan out? I mean, there's all these people that are getting on board, people that aren't even involved with Duffy now. He's got a whole bunch of other people that are. I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. Is what I'm saying. Like people that think it's not going to happen, and if you're like making a big deal about it, get ready to eat your words because I'm pretty sure it's going to fucking happen. And I'll eat my words if it doesn't. I'll be proud to. But it's looking like it's going to happen, and this is some serious shit, you guys. There's people that really want to fucking know it's finally happening. And Duffy is what kicked this off, you know. But now it's not even so much just him anymore. He could go to jail by the time it's time to go. You know, he could get locked up for all his, you know, fines that he hasn't paid or whatever. I don't know. I'm not trying to represent the dude, but the guy's apparently he's got trouble. He's kind of hanging over his head. You know, some of it comes with jail time apparently, but like he's free and you know he's gonna pay for this trip apparently. But even if his shit falls flat and Jaron and Austin don't get to go, there's all these other people that are going now that they've all raised money and they're all that aren't even part of his trip. And I've been following this closely, you know. So it's like, so there's other people going anyways, even if he doesn't go and his whole thing falls apart. So, but I hope that he goes and takes Jaron and Austin because I've been watching Jaron and Austin ever since, you know. And so it's like, it's been a long ride, dude, and it's gonna be pretty fucking interesting. I hope they go. You know, you gotta think good thoughts, man, because like they're going. They said we're gonna go, you know. So it's like, fuck yeah, dude, that's cool. So there's no reason to sit there and be like, oh, I hope they don't die. They might die. People might kill them. There might be all this. No, dude. You know what? We do actually manifest things with our minds. So let's think like, God, I hope they go. That's gonna be rad, dude. This whole thing that we've been doing for like almost 10 years now, it's actually coming to a head. That's fucking cool, man. I'm ready for it, dude. I don't think they're gonna see the 24-hour sun. I got my money on that. That's where my money's at. But you know, I think I've been thinking long and hard about this, and you know, I was making the case a few minutes ago when everybody left the show because they're like, "Oh, he's a sellout Glober." I kind of think sometimes it makes sense, but then other times I'm like, no way. It just doesn't really make sense because the way the Earth is set up, it's like, well, I mean, for one thing, it's like we would have more evidence of it. There wouldn't be. Like, have you seen any fake videos of the 24-hour sun in the north? Has anyone debunked any of those videos? No, they don't have to because they're not fake. There's no reason to fake that. I mean, my dad's lived up there. He's seen that. I trust my dad. So there's enough, you know what I mean? It's like, that's not even up for question. Nobody's got to fake that. But in Antarctica, it's like, Antarctica is this anomalous place, right? Why is it that nobody's really allowed to go there freely? You can't just go, I'm going to go to Antarctica, you know? It's like you had to go through all these hoops and like it's cost all this small fortune, you know? And it's like, oh, look out for penguins. We gotta be safe. It's because it's crazy there. There's fucking 90-mile long ice shelves that are like it's like a 2,000. You know, it's like it's 2 miles thick. You know, it's like ice shelf. Like there's nowhere else on Earth that's like that, mind you. There's other icy cold places. You know, big ice, but like nothing like that. That's not like anywhere on Earth. And you know, and everything you hear about Antarctica is like, whoa. You sort of get this sort of the general vibe about Antarctica is like, whoa, whoa. You know, even if you're a Glober, you're like, whoa, there's something about Antarctica. What's going on in Antarctica? It's all this mystery, you know, and it's like they guard it, you know, guarding Antarctica. You don't want anybody coming down here just on their own free will, you know, and it's like, you stay out of here. We can come, we spend a bunch of money. Okay, we come and you can stay right here. But right here, don't go anywhere now. Okay, you gotta go. Lights out. You can use the potty, but it's just bring a can of coffee can to poop in. They make it like so fucking, like nobody wants to go and fucking be treated like a little kid, And so it's like, it's just this weird place that there's nothing like that anywhere else on Earth. And like, exactly why is that? Why is that such a anomalous place? Why is there no other place on Earth that's like that? Because it's not like you can go somewhere like, it's not like there's an entire continent somewhere on Earth that's just owned by all the countries and they all kind of guard it, and it's like this weird thing. And it's like this, they're protecting it because it's dangerous, There's plenty of other dangerous places, rainforests, and I mean, you can go there. You're advised not to, but they're not going to stop you. I mean, there's places that are just as dangerous, but like they don't care if you go fall off a cliff or take your wingsuit and you jump off a fucking. They don't give a fuck. It's not about people's safety. There's something else going on, right? You don't want to go there. You could die. Well, people are dying in all kinds of weird shit. I mean, people are jumping off of mountains with wingsuits on. I mean, you're not trying to stop them. So it's not about people dying. It's not really what the concern is. It's more about, what is it more about? Because why do they care about people dying so much in this instance and not any other instance? They're guarding something. Well, why would they be guarding something? Like, and why are all the major countries like in on this thing where they're guarding it together? There's no warring factions going on down there. The countries that are in part of this treaty, they're at war with each other currently, or they're like enemies and they don't like each other, but they're all guarding the same place together peacefully. You never hear about any conflicts going on in Antarctica. They're all guarding this place together as one whole. And notice how I go like this when I say Antarctica, like arms around. The prefix ant. They've taken this. I don't think it does. I don't think you can find this anymore. The entomology. When I first got into flat Earth, like 8 or 9 years ago, I was really inspired by this shit. I was looking up stuff. I was looking up the entomology for the word Antarctica and the word ant, because Arctic is a word, but ant. And so I looked up the entomology for the prefix ant, and one of the words in the definitions, it's ant can be against, or like they list off all the words that ant can mean, and one of the words was to surround. One of the phrases when they tell you what ant can mean if it's a suffix on a word, and I swear to God, I took a screenshot. It's on one of my old phones, but it's to surround. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Ant, to surround. And then I went and dropped that in the chat not that long ago. I think it was Cammy. It was like Glowbusters. They're like, really? You saw that? I'm like, yeah, man. I saw it was a long time ago. And one of them went on and Google and was like trying to find it, and they couldn't find it. And I was like, it's entomology. Just look up the entomology, and they weren't finding it. And so I got off the show and I was trying to find it, and I thought I was looking at the same place I'd looked before, but like here I couldn't find it now, like in 7 or 8 years later. And I'm like, but I remember taking a screenshot of it this is what you got to do. If you find something that's like interesting, take a screenshot because they're kind of on our trail. We find certain information that's sort of exposing something, and then that information disappears. Look at this NASA photo of the Earthrise on the moon. Look, you put it through this filter, and you can see the box where the Earth was fucking pasted in. And now you go there and look at that same picture. It doesn't do that anymore. So it's just a good thing that people are archiving stuff, because I couldn't find that definition when I went back to look for it. But it's on a screenshot of mine somewhere. I mean, you just have to take my word for it. I'm a truther. I'm not lying. So I thought that was interesting because ant can mean to surround. So it's like this place. They're really guarding that place really carefully, and it's interesting how they never have any problems doing that, but they have problems, all their politics, all But like in the meantime, they got their shit all tight over here. It's perfectly sound, they're all functioning like a well-tuned machine over here. No one gets in that circle without a fucking, hall pass or whatever. So like, it's interesting how this anomalous place on Earth that like nobody really has any direct experience with it, and the people that do were like, highly controlled when they went there, and like, You know, whether it was just on vacation with on a cruise or something, you know, they have money if they went there, you know, or they were just lucky enough to get a job there or something. It was really weird, and they were just cold the whole time, and they had to like, they only saw one little small part of it, and it was just strange. It was like a weird movie, you know? But it's like you don't really have any, you know, we don't have direct access to this place, and you know, not that many people go there, and it's a weird anomalous place where there's like ice shelves and 2 mile thick pieces of ice. What the fuck? They say it's 24-hour sun there, but they don't have any. There's all this conflicting information about that. The 24-hour cam at the government base down there has 8 hours a day cut out of the footage from that time of year when it's supposed to be 24 hours, and then they email and say, "Oh, the the fucking app automatically edits out the dark time of every day." So it's like that's so it looks like it's sunny the whole time, but it's like if you look at the clock, you can see there's 8 hours missing in every day, and so it's like, you know, if you really want to get into this, you know, you realize, oh, they're cutting out the nighttime during the 24-hour sun part. What? Why is there 8 hours missing from every day from the 24-hour sun video? Oh, when they wrote back, oh, because it edits out the nighttime hours. Oh, but there's not supposed to be nighttime hours. No response. Okay. It's shit like that that makes flat earthers, man. It's not like we're fucking crazy. It's just that we're doing the work, you know? We're looking at things. We're being critical thinkers. Yeah, I know what we're supposed to believe. I'm not missing out on any of that information. I know all of it, probably better than most people. I don't have to believe it. It's not. So it's like believing something is like, that's not whether you're smart or dumb. You know, I mean, sometimes it kind of is. But it's like in cases where it's like something you can't verify yourself, you know, if you can't verify it yourself, I mean, you don't really have to believe it. You probably shouldn't, right? That's kind of, it's a good rule of thumb that like if you can't verify it yourself, you shouldn't believe it 100%. You know, you shouldn't argue in favor of it if you can't verify it yourself, right? That's, if you're just being honest. Try to keep it real, right? That's what makes a truther, you know. You have to admit that you can't go verify it yourself. Okay, I can't go verify it. You're right. So it might not be true. So this anomalous place on Earth that nobody really can go with any degree of like ease. You know, there's all these fucking. You can go to certain places if you have a lot of money to dump, and you don't want to get reservations, and you know, you can go down there if you want, if you don't mind being highly controlled and sleeping in a tent in the ice and shitting in a fucking coffee can after spending 30 grand to get down there. Yeah, you can do that if you want. It's cold as fuck. While there's 24 hours of sun, there's a 2 mile thick piece of ice while there's 24 hours of sun for 6 months every year. Oh, that makes sense. That checks out. I get the impression that when there's 24 hours of sun every day for fucking 6 months, that things that are like cold aren't cold anymore. After that much sun, yeah, they're not cold anymore. Because the sun does provide some heat, you know. When it's summertime and you have nothing but sun, it never goes away. The ice melts. Even if it's a 2 mile thick piece of ice, after 6 months of nothing but sun, yeah, it melts. I mean, I'd believe it if they didn't have to edit out the night hours. Oh, but they have 24-hour sun videos now. Oh, yeah, now that we pointed out that they edit out the night hours. See, that's the thing. It's like if they had those videos before, then it wouldn't have been so sus. But like after we pointed out that there's no videos and that they edit out the night hours, and now a bunch of videos show up and some of them are fake. Well, they might as well all be fake because like it's sus how it all played out. And you got to admit that if you're just being honest, you know, thinking critically. Why wasn't there a bunch of 24-hour sun videos before that, before we pointed out that there wasn't any? Duh. Okay, because it's been well known for how long now? But there wasn't any evidence of it. So how well known could it be if there wasn't any fucking evidence of it? It's called people believing what they were told. And then just suddenly someone pointed out, hey, there's no evidence of this. Huh? Oh, now a bunch of videos show up, and 2 of them have been provably proven to be fake. Even the people that made them admitted they were fake. Okay, so now we got a little bit of an issue here. It's like, you know, thinking logically, You have to take that all into account. There wasn't these videos before we pointed out that there was no videos, and the videos that were there had the night hours edited out of them. That should have been enough right there for you to just be like, okay, there's something way sus going on. In fact, that just debunks it right there. Now a bunch of videos show, oh, they're fancy videos. Oh, they were proven to be fake. But there's a bunch more now. Yeah, fuck you, fool me twice, it's like, fuck you. People don't want to let go of their ball. They love their ball. But you just got to be honest, man. It's not really a ball. You're not really holding a ball. You're holding it in your imagination. Because you treat the place as though we're the very place that you say we're crazy for thinking that it really is. So who's stupid here? You think it's something, but you don't treat it like that. So who's stupid here? Who's spitting useless information? Me or you? Because the way I describe Earth is the way you treat it, and everyone else, including me. The way you describe it, nobody treats it like that. In fact, they don't. They can't. If they did, they'd die. They build planes for use over a flat and stationary Earth. If they built them for use over a rotating, spinning, orbiting Earth that's a ball, they'd have to design things a little differently. And it wouldn't end up working because the planes they built, the aircraft they build for use over a flat stationary Earth, they work fine. Nobody dies. So you got to admit that if they built it for use over all the things you're saying, they would crash and die. Or they would be wasting their time, if anything. They might still just land and have it be perfectly worked out and go, look, the math worked. It's like, yeah, because you can land anywhere, any way you want. As long as you hit the wheels on the ground and roll straight. It's like, look, the math worked. We lined it up just perfectly and landed, and it worked. Look, it's true. I mean, little do they know you could land anywhere. It's that kind of logic, It's like, but they just feel like that's a waste of time. So they don't design things for that because you can land it however you want because the Earth is flat and stationary for everybody that's on it. So, like, if you want to make an argument that it isn't that, well, you're going to have to be making that argument to people that aren't here on Earth because those people are aware of that and they'll agree with you, and they probably have to account for that too because they're not here, and they don't want to get hit by a planet flying around the sun or whatever. I don't know what kind of things you got to worry about when you're in a make-believe place called space. You got to worry about not running out of air. That's the thing I'd be most concerned about. Why do you want to go somewhere where there's no air? That's why once you grow up, you no longer want to be an astronaut because you thought about it long and hard. And you're like, yeah, I don't think I want to go somewhere where there's no air. I don't think I want to fly 17,000 miles per hour. I might blow up or something or die. I just don't like the idea of going somewhere where there's no air and then we have to rely on machines to provide our air. Like, what if we run out of supplies or something? It's funny how the only astronauts that ever died, they have doppelgangers with the same names. They look the same. All right, I gotta go. I love you guys. Thanks for watching my show. Cheers.